Greetings, coming to you today, live and direct from Black Facts Central. We've got a special edition of Doc Ock at noon and 9. You know who I am. Okay, let's go ahead and just jump right in because we got a lot of ground to territory to cover. We probably won't get to it all, so we're going to kind of speed through today. Too large a morsel chokes the child. Too large a morsel, the child. And that is a proverb from Mauritania. All right, Mauritania, West Africa. Moving on, moving right along here. Going to move right into our poem for the day. Poem for the day is from the mind of Gil Scott-Heron, coming out of his book, So Far, So Good. Knock on wood. Where's my wood at? Knock on wood. All right. It's got to be So Far, So Good. This one is called Bridging. I thought I saw last night across a ridge an ebony bridge that spanned all chasms from Harlem to home, African. Zimbabwe with apartheid still. Kenya proved the black man's will. Biafra, the division is not yet killed, African. Queen's English manners so defined, wardrobe styled and dignified, darker skin and no Tarzan smile, Afro-American. Handshake and dashikis too. James Brown doing the soul boogaloo. People starving with nothing to do. Afro-American. Idolizing TV, man. Capitalisms also ran. Colloquialisms, cool, man. African from the continent. Afro-Americans from the discontent. Brothers, can we not implement a bit of faith, a bit of love? For we are all truly brothers from the womb of mother, same from the Genesis. We were one. Let us be one once again. Yeah. Bridging the gap. All right. In a snap. Doing it real cool with brother Gil Scott-Heron. So today I'm going unscripted. That's right. We're going unrehearsed through the universe without even as much as a script or a piece to read from. And the question of the day is, just who is Queen Calafia? Queen Calafia. So get that right. When you say that, it's not Queen Calafia, it's Queen Calafia, like Shealafia ni. Okay, Shealafia ni. That would be a greeting from in the Yoruba country in Nigeria, but Alafia also means peace. And it's also from, comes out of Arabic. Okay, so we got all that history going on there. So Queen Calafia, not Queen Calafia, because that's how most Americans would end up saying that. We'd end up saying something like Calafia, but that wouldn't be her name. But you see here, what I just showed you there, that is her star on Hollywood Boulevard. That's what you're actually looking at there. So this queen is definitely a star, and right below her name is a symbol to symbolize her, which is the symbol of a griffin. So if you see that griffin, you know why I'm riffing on those doggone griffins. Now, we've been talking about the West, and we said we were going to have to go east to go west. So we're going to look at this Queen Calafia rightly goes on Hollywood Boulevard with her star because she is a fictional character. She never lived per se. She's just an image. She's a trope. She's a icon. Okay, so Queen Calafia is an icon, and so different people have depicted her in various ways. Here's my own rendition of Queen Calafia. This is a black and white version. I didn't have a color printer, and I was printing this up last night. Okay, so I didn't have time to get it in color. But next time you see this image, you will be seeing it in full living color, as it is quite colorful. And you see she's got her female warriors on either side of her female guards, and a big chunk of gold in her hands right in front of her. So Queen Calafia. So that particular image there, you can still see it today. It's at the Mark Hopkins International Hotel, on the International Travelers Hotel, I believe it is, on the top of Nob Hill in San Francisco, California. Okay. Or maybe we should say it California. California. Yeah, that would be different. I like to say it California, but different people say it different ways every day. So what can I say? Now, that was that first depiction that I showed you, the one that's at the hotel. This one back over here. I'm gonna go back to it just for a second. This one I showed you over here, the one that's at the International Hotel. This one is in the room of the Dons. So it's like a meeting room or a ballroom. It's a large room, and you'll see the images all along the top of the going all around the room. Some people compared it to the Sistine Chapel, Michelangelo and the Sistine Chapel, in terms of the details that you see there, etc., of the European explorers landing and being greeted by people that look like Queen Calafia. But now, when you go to the California state capital, another artist, this is about 30 or 40 years later, another artist depicted Queen Calafia looking like this, where you cannot even really tell that she's a woman. You have to look real close to see that she has a couple of breasts there to determine is she male or female. But you do, is there a griffin? No, there's not even a griffin in this picture. Okay, so it's hard to tell what she is in that picture. But that picture is very reminiscent of some of the other imagery that I'm going to be showing you coming up here in just a minute. Although that hat on top of her head looks a lot like a Phrygian cap. That's the one they put on the freedom statue on top of the U.S. Capitol. And this is all this one is in it. This image here is in a conference room on a wall. It's a mural on a wall done by Lucille Lloyd. Okay. Now, I've got another one over here. This one is on the top of my one of my pages right now. I can't remember if it's my personal page, another page, but look around, look for me. My personal page, that would be Kofi Kemet, Kofikhemet, 2 words. Okay. And this one is of Mansa Musa crossing the Sahara, taking the Hajj. And you can see him in the front up here. You can see that he's got people with bags of gold over here, which is not how they would have carried it. But this is just an artist's rendition to try to illustrate an idea. Okay. And then you see this horseman over here, some of his horsemen here. All the way back here, you see all this over here. This, you can't even tell what this is. These are all people. That's his entourage. He went with an entourage of 60,000. So now Mansa Musa is a real person, and he really did go with tons of gold, 60,000 people, 1,000 camels, or 1,000 servants, and like 300 camels loaded down with gold from Niani, Mali, which is below Timbuktu, and all the way across the Sahara, all the way over to Mecca. And for the most part, they walked. Okay. All those other people back there, they're not riding camels and horses. They're not in ox-drawn carts or nothing like that. They're walking across the Sahara. Now, of course, the emperor, you know, he gets to Mansa right here. He would get to ride on a horse. But everybody else walked a total of 4,000 miles across the desert. And that journey was so spectacular that people haven't stopped talking about it to this day. If you go to YouTube, you'll see a lot of videos, and pretty much everyone says that Mansa Musa was the richest man in the world. Okay, you know, forget whatever his name is, Bezos. Forget that guy. He, you know, he don't have no money compared to what Mansa Musa had. However, if Mansa Musa, as an emperor, could do whatever he wanted with the treasury of the empire, he would not be a very good leader. He'd be somewhat Trumpian, we might say. Okay, so no, Mansa Musa is not, was not, will not ever be the world's richest man, because he did not own that gold. He was the guardian, the caretaker of the people's wealth, because the people had to dig that gold up out the ground, and the people made things out of that and allowed the emperor to use those things as long as he was emperor, until he stepped down. Okay, now here's a depiction here of the path they took through the Sahara. So they started way down here in Mali, very, you know, pretty close to the Atlantic Ocean, and went all the way up to Timbuktu, and then over to Tagaza, and then across the Sahara, all the way over here to Cairo. Keep in mind this map is reversed, and then down here to Mecca. So that's why the map looks a little weird, because it is reversed here because of this camera deal here. Okay, at least on some of these cameras it'll be reversed. On one of them it's not, and the other one it is. Okay, so this hajj that he made, where he took 1,000 servants and 60,000 people, included a number of female guards or soldiers. And it's their story that people remember. It's that image of those people that people remembered, and they turned it into, in Al-Andalus, people began to write hundreds of years after the fact. They began to write stories and books and recounting the legend of Queen Calafia, who, as I said earlier, is a fictional queen. She is not, never was, never will be a real person. Now, when they got to, when the explorers came from Europe to this part of the world, this is part of Central America, and then the upper part here is Mexico. Okay, when they got here, they went all the way down around South America and ended up over here on this side over here ended up over here for a little bit further north is Baja California. And so they thought they had reached the island of California, but in all actuality, they had not reached that land at all, because again, it was a mythical place. It does not exist. But when they got there, they would have seen huge, well, some of them may have seen people look like these people here. Here you see a man from the Sudan, from Nubia, a Nubian, okay? And here you see a stone carving from the Olmec culture. And so you see the similarity between his face, even the expression on his face, and the expression on the face of this Olmec head. And there are literally hundreds of these heads that people have been able to, archaeologists have been able to excavate, dig up, and begin to look at and admire for the artistic work. The question is, who did it? And we know the answer is the Olmecs. So then the question is, who are the Olmecs? So this is just another part of the story of Queen Calafia. When and what we've been doing on our regular live streams, we've been talking about the West, as it's typically talked about, where we talk about the cowboys and the cowgirls and the rodeos and the villains and the sheriffs and all like that. But I want you to look at this particular Olmec head. Look at this. These heads were done back in, what did they say, like 1200, round about 1200 BC, okay, or BCE, before the Christian era. Now look at that. I mean, this head, that's a fine head. This is, because I had to blow this up from out of the computer, and I was able to blow that up in the detail and the skill with which an artisan would have to use to create such a highly detailed and sculpted portrait of someone is actually amazing. Okay, this is actually amazing. And like I said, there are literally hundreds of them that they've been able to excavate or find over there in Mexico, down in Veracruz, etc. Now, oddly enough, there are other images of Black people like that we found, that have been found, discovered, or found, located, seen in other parts of the world as well. But since we're talking about California and we're talking about Queen Calafia, then we're just focused on Mesoamerica or Central America. We're focused on that area in particular because when Mansa Muhammad Abu Bakr II, when he left the west coast of Africa, headed further west to see what lay beyond the Great Sea, this is where we think that he landed at, because of they would have used they didn't have sails on their ships, so they would have used the ocean currents. There are some ocean currents that are like rivers in the ocean that if you get in it, bam, it'll shoot you right on across, right into this area where these heads were found. So that may be how some of these Black people had gotten there to Mesoamerica much earlier, at least over 1,000 years, but actually more like 2,000 years before Mansa Musa, because he didn't go until like 1321, 1342, back in the African medieval days, if you will. Okay, we don't really call it that, but some people refer to it as the medieval days because that's what time it was in Europe. You know, everything's got to be compared to Europe, because if we didn't have Europe, we wouldn't have time, right? Yeah, think about that for a minute. All right, now this head here, take a look at this one, and I'm going to put it up here right next to that one. Look at these two heads side by side. One of them is from Cambodia, and the other was found in Mesoamerica. Look at that. And one of those is from a set of temples, okay? One of those is from a temple complex, they call it. A temple complex in Cambodia that's known as Angkor Wat. Now, I probably didn't say it right, but that's the best I have for that one right now. All right, now if you go to Disneyland or Disney World and you go on that jungle ride, you'll see a depiction of a head like that as well at Disneyland or at Disney World on their jungle ride. Unfortunately, you're going to see some other images too that'll probably tick you off, but you know, what can I say? I wouldn't give my money to Disney. I would just go and look it up online. Why go when you can go see the YouTube version of the jungle ride on YouTube? You can see it for free, so you don't actually have to go, because I ain't boosting Disney, not for all the money or the tea in China. Okay, now this one is actually a statue of the Buddha, and the thing to pay attention to here, which is why I'm moving this real close to the camera, are the curls of the hair. And this is why Black people, male, female, adults, children, we should not put chemicals on our hair to make our hair look like anybody else's, because our hair is one of the few ways that we have of accurately being able to identify ourselves in the future. That's how our descendants will be able to identify us, is by our hair. So this particular Buddha, I'm not sure if it was from China or Japan, but in Japan, from what I've heard, the Buddhas that they make there have to have 626 curls on their head. They have a formula for it. They actually have a formula, how many curls they have to have on their head. So I guess they have to divide the head up, make sure each one is just the right size so they come out with the right number. Because for some reason, 626, I don't know, it's some kind of important number. I mean, 6 and 6 is 12, plus 2 is 14. That makes 5. I don't know. 5 is not that significant to me, but apparently 626 is very significant to them. So these curls are very, very important. Now on this one here, what the reason I'm bringing this picture to you, it's not as clear as I would like, but here are braids. This Buddha's hair is all braided. Okay, and that's something else that's very typical among Black people, not to mention the earlobes. If you look at those earlobes, those elongated earlobes, that's also something that we see in various parts of Africa, particularly amongst the people from East Africa, these elongated earlobes, all the way from Ethiopia, all the way down into Southern Africa, you'll see these elongated earlobes from, and in ancient Egypt with the pharaohs, Tutankhamun and them, where they wore those, now they call them gauges. They wore those, what they call gauges now in their ears, but they had much heavier earrings attached to that so-called gauge that would pull the ear down. And you saw that also in the ones where you see it here in the Buddha, and even in the ones from, where's that other one at? Could you see it here? Oh, here you can see it here. You can see it there again. This is another way of identifying Black people. You can identify us by our cultural habits, traditions, and ways of doing things. And so here you see he's got a big gauge in his ear also. All right. And then let me see what else I have here. I don't have a couple more pictures here. Okay, now that one's not even worth showing. I think that might be the last one. Oh, here it goes here. I'll show you this one here. All right. Now, this one is the back of one of those heads from Central America or Mexico. Veracruz in particular, there are a lot of these Olmec heads all down there in Veracruz. So that's a place to go. That's a state in Mexico, not another country. And you see here again, very distinct braids, even with the little, I don't know what they call that. It's like a medallion, okay, at the end, near the end of the braid to hold it together or decorate it. I'm not sure what the purpose was there, but you can see that style there, which again is typical of African men and or women. So it's not just, it wasn't just the women. And then last but not least, I'm going to show you this picture here because I said there were hundreds of these Olmec heads scattered around through Central America. And here are some more here. There's a whole page of them, okay? A whole page of these heads. And you can see the man standing next to one of them here to give you an idea of about how big they are. So these heads are as big as a full-grown man, if not even larger. Now, you won't be able to really see these heads very good, okay, because they're too small and it didn't have high enough resolution for you to really be able to see them. But I showed you some close-ups of them already, and you can find plenty of them online. You can even go to my Pinterest page, which is, again, just type in Olmec heads, or you can type in Kofi Kemet Olmec heads. Okay, put a dash in there, and you should be able to find my Pinterest page there. And I've got a number of Pinterest pages up there. They're all open to the public, so freely available. You can go up there and check them out. You'll see all kinds of images, and you can see some of these same images I just showed you here. You can actually see them in full living. Okay. Now, I haven't been to all those places that you saw all those things at, but I will be going, you know, if I get a chance. I'm encouraging you to do the same. But in the meantime, the main point with this exercise here today was just to expose people to some of the African people, that images of some of the African people that were here long before the European explorers came over on their wind-blown ships. Okay, there were people that they met here, and some of those people were definitely African. You know, land bridge from the Bering Strait, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Because if those people were here, well, where did they go? And why didn't they create a civilization here like they had where they came from? That's the only question I had. What happened? Okay, so somebody's got to explain that to me so I can understand, because I don't get it. But in the meanwhile, I hope you all have a good, enjoy the rest of your holiday weekend, because I'm not going to call it a weekend, because we like to think of what most people call weekends as a strong end, or at least, if nothing else, it could be a meek end. In the meanwhile, I'm going to do the same. And if you could, just go ahead and give us a thumbs up on YouTube and hit the subscribe button down there, so you'll be notified when we put up a new live stream. And if you're looking at us on Facebook, you can give us a like and give us a share as well. Share with your relatives. But I tell you what, if you're going to share our videos with your relatives, why not, and your friends, why not go ahead and just look down a little bit further, and you'll see some links where you can set up a little donation campaign. Because right now we are in the midst of our fall fundraising campaign that we are calling 2020-2020. Okay, so September 20th, 2020. I think I got too many 20s in there. Okay, yeah, there should only be 3. September 20, 2020. Yes, 3 20s. I don't know how I got to 4 yesterday. I must have been tired. But at any rate, it's 3 20s for good luck. And you can donate a 20. That'd be good too. That'd be the 420 right there. And then you can invite your friends and family as well. We do need funds. We are a nonprofit organization, a 501c3, and we're putting all our funds into bringing you information like this, but we still need new materials, especially for the children. And we do plan on going to do what we've been doing for the last 10 years, which is giving away educational material to the youth about Black history, Black culture. That's what we intend to do. And we're not just giving it to the Black children. We intend to give it, we're trying to spread it around. Okay. So we don't care if they're Black, white, Asian, so-called Asian, Mexican, Native American, whatever. Children are children, and they all need to know about the real history, the real story of Black folks, because all they've been getting is history. We need to tell our story. So we hope you can appreciate what we're doing. Give us some support however you can. You can do it for free, or you can give up a donation, either way. But that's where the 420 came in, because we're trying to raise 20,000 by September 20, 2020. That's how we get to the 420s. Yeah, 420. That's right. This is a whole different kind of 420 than what you're used to. All right, now, peace out, y'all. Check you on the next live stream, which will be at 9 o'clock tonight. And then, of course, we'll be back here tomorrow at noon. Doc Ock at noon and 9, signing out. Peace out.